On July 15, 2018, thousands of lightning strikes touched down on the forested landscape of southwest Oregon, igniting over 100 fires. Fires were burning across the landscape from the Oregon-California border north to Crater Lake and west to the Kalmiopsis Wilderness and the wild and scenic Rogue River. Federal and state agencies prepared by pre-positioning additional resources. Working around the clock, firefighters were successful in extinguishing a majority of the new starts. But as with any big lightning storm that ignites a multitude of fires, a small percentage of those fires grew. Those fires continue to challenge the primary agencies involved, including the U.S. Forest Service, the Bureau of Land Management, Oregon Department of Forestry, the National Park Service, and CAL FIRE. These fires have been difficult to suppress because of the steep, rugged terrain, making it challenging for firefighters and aviation resources to safely access. The fires have threatened thousands of residences, creating smoky, unhealthy air for southwestern Oregon communities, burned up valuable federal and state-administered lands, as well as private timberlands, and impacted local tourism economies. The fires continue to challenge the firefighters due to very dry and receptive fuels, extremely steep, rugged, and inaccessible terrain, high temperatures, and low humidities. Firefighters from all agencies are doing their best to suppress these fires with the tools at hand, but the fight is expected to be long and challenging.
It's been a very warm and dry year, not just the summer, but the winter and the spring. We've had an extended period of dryness and an extended period of above normal temperatures. Drought. We have moderate to severe drought across southern Oregon.
For the Rogue River Siskiyou National Forest, we started really paying attention to the snowpack near Crater Lake, having an abnormally low snowpack, less than 50%. And so when we started seeing the potential for lightning and watching the weather warm up, earlier than usual, we knew we had the potential for a high severity fire season.
Regular communication with our neighbors, Oregon Department of Forestry, Bureau of Land Management, Klamath National Forest, CAL FIRE, and as we entered into the season, we saw how dry it was. There was a predicted lightning storm that was coming in, so we coordinated with those partner agencies to talk about the potential for having a widespread event where we had lots of fires over a large geographic area.
We were preparing for the lightning storm by ordering additional resources from the region, from the area, and really meeting as Forest Service, Bureau of Land Management, Oregon Department of Forestry to talk about what resources we had available for whatever the outcome of the storm was going to be.
We are the Rogue Valley Interagency Command Center.
Copy that.
By resources, we bring in not only engines and dozers and water tenders, we're bringing in hand crews, and we've had tankers.
They pre-positioned, we had 2 large air tankers here. The state had 1 large air tanker here. We had 2 air attack platforms and a smoke jumper ship as well.
July 15th. The lightning storm came through. About 9 o'clock in the morning is when we started taking down strikes and hearing the reports on the radio.
We're talking over 3,000 strikes just across far northern California and southern Oregon.
We had upwards of 180 fires that we fought. Out of those 180 fires, we ended up with a handful of the fires that were either more difficult to access or in more difficult terrain, and that we weren't able to suppress them quickly.
Over 100 of those were suppressed during their initial attack phase. So that's a huge accomplishment in terms of looking across the Rogue Valley and all of the smoke that we had going in the air the first couple of days.
And it's a really good thing that we had all these extra resources here on the weekend that we received these fires, because otherwise we would have had a lot more fires to navigate on the landscape than what we currently do now.
The ones that really piqued my interest initially in prioritization format was the stuff that we were getting down in our Siskiyou Mountains Ranger District in the proximity to Ashland in our watershed. So high populations and things that we're really looking to protect take first priority, and they trickle down through the system and ultimately end up in the remote backcountry areas where we have more limited opportunities to engage. The resources get more finite. You're looking at smoke jumpers and repellers and such.
This forest has a lot of challenges with the steep slopes that we've got, a lot of inaccessible terrain. Definitely giving us some challenges on where we can and can't put some people on this fire because of that.
We also had very hot and dry, windy conditions after the lightning outbreak. And we had the worst conditions we could have. It's mid to late July. It's over 100 degrees in the valley. The humidities were down to about 5%.
We used everything that we could on every fire that we had, and those fires specifically out in the Kalmiopsis, they were hard to get to. Really steep country, and we're dealing with that today, trying to figure out how we're going to be able to go in there and get some containment lines close to those fires. It's not a place that we like to have fire at all, and it notoriously gets hit with lightning. It's a tough piece of ground.
It was important to be prepared because our number one priority is to provide for public safety. And so being able to have an adequate response to suppress the fires, the new fires that we were potentially going to see. And again, it's a complete and coordinated effort with all agencies in southwestern Oregon, as well as some of our partners over in California.
And out there helping protect all of your homes.
Well, in terms of talking to the community, I think it's been really important for them to understand that we are working together collaboratively to do everything we can to protect firefighter safety, to protect life and property.
What's that?
The community, they feel reassured when they have firefighters in their backyard, and they don't really care what uniform they're wearing. They just want to know that their needs and concerns are being addressed.
Firefighters, they came on Sunday. There were 20 people working here at one time. They cut down about 100-foot swath from our yard up the hill. Then after it was cleared, then they came in with hoses. They were determined to save our house. Bless them.
E4019. So I couldn't be more proud of all the firefighters that are out there. As we speak, we have 6,500 men and women that are giving it their all and risking their lives to keep our community safe. We're definitely doing our best to try to get these fires out as quickly and as safely as we can.